one of the main things I like to do when releasing the hip flexors is try to see if we can decompress. One of the muscles that has a great grip on what is going on with the hip capsule is the psoas, the ever popular psoas, controversial psoas if I might say. So I'll start with actually working with the iliacus and the iliopsoas and see if we can get that to release a little bit, and that makes all the other work through the 5 other hip flexors or 4 other hip flexor muscles to really let go, and it makes that work that much more effective. So first thing I want to do is unlock it, and then from there start working on all the other stuff that might help unhinge it. So this is a little trick that we use to kind of help separate that psoas and iliacus. You know, first thing I'll try to do is just feel. If they're always look at their face, see what their tells are. You know, everybody has a tell. Some people keep a poker face, but you see their toes wiggle, and that's when they're in discomfort. Sometimes it's their breathing, sometimes their face turns red, sometimes they grimace. You want to try to keep it comfortable and let them have control. So what I'll do is I'll start digging right behind that iliacus right here, and I'll just wiggle the knee back and forth, and you can start feeling your fingers kind of sink a little bit deeper behind that iliacus, which is what you want. And then we hit a point where it just stops sinking in. And that's when, instead of me moving their knee back and forth, that's where I'll let them take control. And that's where their body starts to accept some of that work. So right now, I'm going to hold it right here, take a deep breath. Exhale, and I want you to bring your knee out towards me. Push out. And I'm just going to resist just a little bit and then pull back in here. And then relax. And I like to do a little tap to tell them when to knows what they're feeling, knows what they're doing, and they can feel what I'm feeling with that. You know, it's kind of crazy. I can't believe you can tell what I feel when something hurts, because it's like, you know. Well, we should know, and I think most therapists do know, but they don't tell the clients that they do know, and therefore that trust doesn't get established as strong as it should, and that confidence. Straighten out. Slowly come back. Good. So that's feeling pretty thick. So now instead of my fingers, I'm going to start putting my elbow a little bit on here. And that doesn't mean it's more pressure, but it just means I need some longer, more consistent pressure. Because right now it's not that much harder than what I was doing with my fingers, just a slightly broader surface. So I'm able to hook that medial side of that rec fem, push down and slide it medially onto that adductor magnus, and then straighten out that leg again. And then bend it. And with that, I can feel some of the tissue gliding and moving underneath the pressure. And then relax. There you go, nice. There you go.
I'll say I tensed a little bit upper body, so I'm just going to take a deep breath to relax that.
Good. Deep breath is always good. So now I'm getting a little bit more into the belly of it all. I'm moving around, kind of swimming in one spot. And I'm trying to find that seam a little bit between the adductor magnus and the rec fem. And there's that seam, so I'm going to kind of split that seam, push down a little bit, kind of go up and down that seam, going with the grain. And then I'm going to kind of wiggle a little bit, and then I'm going to come in and hook that rec fem and pull it out, kind of away from that adductor magnus, and then straighten out that leg. And that should move that adductor magnus a little bit. Come back down. Good. And then we're going to do the opposite and go back down and split that seam, push down, and I'm going to push medially onto that adductor magnus, pushing it away from the rec fem, and then straighten that leg out again. Good. And back down. Good. I just felt everything sink a little bit and relax, ease up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just kind of go back through here and just kind of reassess the tissue here. And to me, it feels a lot more pliable. It feels like warmed up taffy now,
I can feel that
and
too.
things are moving.
It's not nearly as tender. Not even at all. That's always the best.
So when you pull, see where that pulling comes from. Is that kind of just pulling, you know, does it come up to the hip sockets and does the waistline move with it? When you pull, do you see everything come from underneath the arm and nothing's moving at the hip? So you can kind of see where things are at and where things are locked up. And they do move differently between the two sides here. So he is still pretty locked up all through here, but it's moving a little bit better on the front side, which is kind of what we're looking for. So now, short-term plan, long-term plan. Short-term plan, we got things a little more functional through the anterior now, but I would probably work a little bit more with some of the medial side, some of the adductors, and also some of those deep internal rotators in there, obturator, externus, internus, working from there. And I think that would probably help this hip really let go. So that would be the next step. Thanks.